edition of Gameball NFL Endzone. We're going to break down the matchups in the wildcard round of the playoffs, as well as bring to you the matchups going into the divisional round. And we'll also give you our predictions and tell you who we think is going to make it to the conference championships. It's almost that time. Gameball Info Endzone starts now.
It's win or go home time.
What's happening, everyone? Welcome to Gameball NFL Endzone, where the football season never ends. I'm Marcus Young Genius Jenkins.
I'm Michael Riley.
And I'm Luke Hartnett.
Always coming at you every single Wednesday. 1008 Mass Street, Stonewall Restaurant and Pizzeria. Home of also the half-price pizza Wednesdays. Dine in, of course, only. 18-inch pizzas, fresh toppings. Thank you for everybody, always definitely for supporting not only us here at Gameball Info Endzone, but also Stonewall Restaurant as well. So definitely want to give them much props for their growing success. So thank you everybody out there that's been continuing to support us as well. We're going to go ahead and kick things off. We're going to break down the Wildcard Weekend of the NFL playoffs. We're going to kick things off with, of course, may not be the happiest of times for everyone in the Kansas City region, but the Kansas City Chiefs and the Tennessee Titans. Well, it seemed like the Kansas City Chiefs, I mean, you guys would agree, it seemed like the Kansas City Chiefs were handling business and doing what they're supposed to do, and that was, you're coming in, you're at home, and you're against an untested Tennessee Titans team, and it looked like that they would be up at halftime by a score of 21-3, and then, well, things didn't end the way most people would have predicted that it went that way, but you have to give a lot of credit to the Tennessee Titans. They found a way to get it done and would end up, of course, winning by a score of 22-21. Holding the Chiefs in check at Arrowhead Stadium in the playoffs was definitely something that maybe came to a surprise. I mean, if anything, you could see if it was competitive and something may have happened in the end, but they absolutely controlled that game. Luke, I want to start with you. How was Tennessee able to take control of this matchup in the second half?
They were able to find a way to maximize Derrick Henry's potential. Look at the last, pretty much every Heisman Trophy winner, since one or two this pretty much this century. They haven't panned out very well in the NFL, but Derrick Henry and Mark Ingram, who's also at Alabama running back, still in the place at the Saints. About the two exceptions anyway. There's Cam Newton, they're as good as well. But I mean, back to the point, they were just able to. They found that strength versus that weakness. Their strength was Derrick Henry. Chiefs' weakness was stopping Derrick Henry.
Well, in the second half, Tennessee didn't panic. They was able to make enough adjustments on defense to stop Kansas City offense. Once Kelsey went down with a concussion, that was a serious blow to the Chiefs offense. So that maximized it to their potential. They played to their favor, where we'll lock up Tyreek Hill, beat us with somebody else. So that's what they did. They was able to get some pressure. They was able to get some key third down stops, get them off the field, and put their offense back on the field. What had happened was the momentum changer of the game when Marcus Mariota and the Tennessee Titans offense was at the goal line, where he threw it and Darrelle Revis tipped it. Yeah. He caught his own pass, hit the pylon for a touchdown to make it 21-10. So that was a big momentum changer right there in that favor in the Tennessee Titans way, where they was able to run the ball effectively, where Derrick Henry was able to get off for that 39-yard touchdown run to make it game close. Then once after that, Mariota threw a 22-yard touchdown pass to Eric Decker, and that was the one-point lead. So that was the Tennessee Titans, how they did. They made adjustments in the second half to take over and win the game for the Kansas City offense. When Travis Kelce went down, you start to see the air come out their offense. They felt defeated and deflated once he went down.
They dropped too many balls before that too.
Exactly. So they didn't get Kareem Hunt going in the running game as well as playing they did in the first half. And Tyreek Hill, they didn't utilize his potential in the second half like they did in the first half. They should have went with a shallow crossing route, which he was dominating Tennessee Titans secondary with those routes and go with the vertical game, but they was being conservative instead of aggressive. And the Chiefs was up by 17 at one point and blew the home win, and they deserved to lose that game because they was resting, chilling, parlaying, acting like everything's gonna be okay. This is the playoffs. You have to be aggressive. You gotta go balls out to the wall, and they didn't do that, and it cost them. And with stupid penalties and giving Tennessee Titans a good field position, Tennessee was able to capitalize on that. And on a critical play on fourth down, Wilson had a catchable pass that was dropped that could have sent them at the goal line. So everything went right for the Tennessee Titans in the second half. Everything went wrong for the Kansas City Chiefs, and they were snake bitten by that.
Kansas City Chiefs, unfortunately, their season does come to an end. Congratulations once again to the Tennessee Titans. I mean, once again, an unproven team walked into Arrowhead Stadium on the road, inexperienced, and came out with a huge win, and they're on to the divisional round of the playoffs.
And now the Kansas City Chiefs at home, the playoffs are 0-6, and that's not good.
Going back to '93.
Not good. They have to definitely find a way to get over that hump. We'll see what they can do during the off season. You know, there's definitely a lot of
4 of them losses are about 4 points or less.
Absolutely. Ball don't lie, ladies and gentlemen. We're gonna jump into the second matchup, and this one was kind of, I don't know if this one could have went either way. I think this was kind of half and half. I think this was kind of like a split debate between many, and that was with the Atlanta Falcons and the Los Angeles Rams. The Atlanta Falcons would be victorious in this game by a score of 26-13. Matt Ryan would be pretty solid in this game. 21 of 30 on pass attempts, 218 yards, and he would find an end zone one good time for the Falcons. Devontae Freeman would have 18 rushes, 66 yards. He would also get to the house and score a touchdown. Julio Jones, 9 catches, 94 yards. He would also find a touchdown for the Falcons as well. Total offense, 332 yards with 20 first downs. So they were moving those chains in that contest. Time of possession, 37 minutes, 35 seconds. Third down conversions, 5 of 15 with 0 turnovers. So pretty solid offensively. I'm sure both of you would agree. On defense, they would have 3 sacks, 5 tackles for losses, and 0 turnovers. For the Los Angeles Rams, Jared Goff, 24 of 45, 259 passing yards. He would have a touchdown. Todd Gurley was pretty solid. He would have 14 rushes for 101 yards. Robert Woods, 9 catches, 142 yards. 361 total yards of offense. They would have 19 first downs in this contest as well. Definitely a huge difference in the time of possession offensively. You see that they only have 22 minutes and 25 seconds compared to almost 38 minutes roughly for the Atlanta Falcons. So it definitely seemed like they weren't on the field as often, and apparently scoring 13 points was definitely proof of that. Mike, I want to start with you with this one. How were the Falcons able to overcome the Los Angeles Rams?
Well, here's the recipe for success if you want to beat the hottest offense in the NFL. Atlanta's offense has to control the time of possession, which they did. They kept the Rams' offense on the sideline by converting first downs and making first downs on each play. They was able to control the clock and keep that clock running, forcing the Rams' pressure to basically hurry up the offense, force them to try to score, and they didn't settle down for that. So that played in Atlanta Falcons' offense favor. And also, they got Julio Jones involved. Finally, they got him involved. It seems like he was drifting off here and there the last few weeks of the season. Once they got him involved, the offense started clicking with a running game and getting some first down efficiency. especially on third down. And the defense played very well against a good, talented offense. They played sideline to sideline, especially with the speed linebackers that they had. They got pressure on the quarterback, forcing him to throw bad throws. It could have been picked, but it wasn't picked. Then they got off the field on third down. At first, it was they was on their heels. Then they gave up a touchdown play to the rookie wide receiver Cup. So what they did, they made adjustments and stopping Todd Gurley in the passing game. That's the key thing. They stopped him and they forced Jared Goff to go with somebody else because that offense is based off Todd Gurley. If you stop him at one aspect and force him to go in another aspect, then that plays in your favor to win the game. The Rams had plenty of opportunities to try to win this game. Offense, they could have opened the playbook more and and they relied too much on the screen game with Todd Gurley. The Falcons was ready to stop that. And defense, they could have bought a little bit more pressure, but Wade Phillips was confident in Aaron Donald to get the pressure up the field, which he was doing. But I would have brought more blitzes in here and there. And you can't leave one-on-one with Julio Jones. He's too big, he's too fast, he's too strong. So you have to have safety help on top. That's why the Patriots and a few other defenses are successful against Julio Jones, because they know they can't win one-on-one. So they use schemes and utilize matchups to contain him. And that's where the Los Angeles Rams failed to do so, and that's the reason why they're at home and not advancing to the next round.
I don't think you look at all these weapons that the Falcons have with Freeman and Coleman in the backfield. He mentioned Julio Jones. You got Sanu as the number 2 receiver. Cold-blooded Matty Ice. No wonder their defense gets overlooked. I mean, even the games they lost, look at the points surrendered they gave up. They weren't giving up 35, 40 points a game this year. I mean, they were losing games 20-17, 23-13. Their defense is a very, very underrated bunch, and I think the stat of the game has to be time of possession. Though the Falcons continue to hold the ball for 38 minutes plus the game. They're going to repeat as NFC champions and win the Super Bowl this time. That's going to be Philadelphia's big thing. They're Philadelphia, kind of foreshadowing the next round here. They're basically their end game's going to have to just be staying on the field. So very, very impressive game by the Falcons. I think we just saw a Rams team that I don't want to say they were overmatched, just clearly weren't ready for the big time. Young teams, very rarely are. The mere experience will help them move forward. I'm looking forward to the Rams coming back next year. They're going to enter week 1 with that swag, for lack of a better term, and I think the division is theirs to lose again. Haven't checked the schedule yet, but I mean, they stay healthy. They're a young team. They can be one of the top 2 teams in the NFC, get that bye week next year, possible home field advantage. Bright future for the Rams, just isn't their time yet. They were ready, but they weren't ready. Falcons are more ready, but they got a lot to look forward to.
I also want to make one more point. They could have been more aggressive offensively with the play calling. If they would have did that and put Todd Gurley out in the slot, utilize his talent there, like we see other teams do with the running backs, that could have made a difference.
So definitely, kind of not necessarily surprised where we kind of expected, I think, the Atlanta Falcons kind of be in this position to advance to the next round of the playoffs because of the experience. And, of course, thinking back to the Super Bowl of last year, I'm pretty sure that's something that weighs heavily on them. So, I mean, once again, like we talked about, definitely a hats off to a great turnaround by the Rams, new stadium, new city, Los Angeles, a new coach, and Sean McVay, who's going into only his 2nd year. I mean, if you saw the interviews for the Los Angeles Rams, too, they're nothing but optimistic. Nobody's holding their head down. They're already looking ahead to next season. So definitely can't wait to see, if they continue to grow from this or, what happens. And I agree with you when you said that the conference is for them to lose again. I absolutely agree with you guys. We're going to jump into the 3rd matchup, and that is the Buffalo Bills and the Jacksonville Jaguars. Not necessarily a high-scoring affair with this contest. The Buffalo Bills were taken out by the Jacksonville Jaguars by a score of 10-3. So this was definitely defense, what you would definitely say is the theme of this one, with only 3 points by the Buffalo Bills, only 10 on the Jaguars side of things. For most people, this probably would have been like a sleeper game, not a whole lot of excitement offensively, but Jacksonville was able to prevail. Just a couple quick stats for you guys. Quarterback Tyrod Taylor for Buffalo, not his best effort. 17 of 37 on pass attempts. Only 134 yards and would throw a pick. Wouldn't find it. Obviously, the end zone in this one. LaShawn, the real McCoy, what I like to call him, 19 rushes for 75 yards in the contest. He would also add 6 catches and 44 yards to his offensive statistics as well. Total offense, 263 yards with 20 first downs. Time of possession, 32 minutes and 37 seconds. Third down conversions, 7 for 18, as well as 2 turnovers for the Buffalo Bills in the contest. The defense, however, they would come up with 2 sacks, 6 tackles for losses, as well as they would have 0 turnovers in this contest. Quickly for the Jacksonville Jaguars, Blake Bortles, 12 of 23, 87 yards for 1 touchdown. He would find the end zone, the sole touchdown. Blake Bortles would also have 10 rushes for 88 yards. Also, D.D. Westbrook, 5 catches for 48 yards. The interesting statistic to me is they didn't have, there's also a difference in time of possession for this contest as well. 27 minutes and 23 seconds compared to 32 minutes for the Buffalo Bills. Third down conversions, though, only 2 of 12, so not very successful there. They did have 0 turnovers, which was a bright spot for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Defensively, they would come up with 2 sacks in the contest, 6 tackles for losses, and they would come up with 2 interceptions, of course, at the expense of their defense. Mike, Luke, I want to start with this one with you. How was Jacksonville able to come up with almost like an ugly game, you would say this one was?
The game that never happened, you might ask some people.
True statement.
Not to take anything away from either of these teams, but NFL rules state that someone has to win the AFC South.
Yep.
And we kicked off the season with the understanding that 6 teams from each conference would make the playoffs, so you can't change that rule mid-season, so that's how Buffalo got in. I was actually thoroughly entertained by this game, though. It was just a lot of chess match going on there. Soldier effort by LaShawn McCoy. Just old Shady was out there less than 100%. Straight soldier effort by him. They didn't lose because of him. They actually lost because he didn't get the rock on that 1st and goal from the 1-yard line. Not only did they, throw incomplete, but they had the OPI, offensive pass interference.
That was a difference.
That would be their only 3 points of the game. If I'm not mistaken, they right by the time Peterman replaced T-Mobile with the concussion or whatever, they were not necessarily in field goal range, but right there on the cusp of it. And they're down 10-7 in that situation. They're looking for probably another 10, 15 yards, trying to tie the game, send it to overtime, as opposed to forcing the issue, get the touch. Which, by the way, the way that game ended, find me a more athletic play than what Jalen Ramsey made to seal the deal there.
Yes, and that was.
Go ahead, I'll wait.
Yeah.
Boy's a stud. That may have been one of the single most athletic plays I've ever seen in any sport I've ever seen. So Jaguars are on to the next, going to Pittsburgh. I think we're all looking forward to that matchup. They beat them 30-9 back in Week 5. Had Big Ben considered retirement. That Saxonville D still nasty as ever. I think it kind of separates the Jaguars from a lot of the other Florida/Southern teams, dome teams. They're kind of built for natural grass and cold weather or whatever else. They got Fournette. Bortles isn't going to beat you with the arm. You know about their defense. Like the chances, like them a lot this weekend. Like them a lot.
Well, I like their defense, but I'm still not so on their offense. Because offensive-wise, you have to put up points to win. You cannot rely on your defense so much. Because one of these games, you're going to have to heavily rely on your offense. Week 1, they went into Pittsburgh and knocked them off. But this is a different ball game. We're talking about playoffs. It's a different story than what it was in Week 1. But back to the Bills and Jaguars. The defense was the story of the Jacksonville Jaguars. They did their thing. They made the key stops, had their turnovers. The defense is going to play, but the offense needs to put up points. They can't just rely on their defense to bail them out. Because if they're relying on their defense to bail them out, they're in trouble. Especially if Blake Bortles had one or two interceptions, it could have been a difference right there. So for the Jaguars offense, they have to get it going. And Leonard Fournette has been in a shell of himself as of lately. He hasn't been that dude since the first few weeks of the season. He's hit a brick wall. He doesn't know where he's at. He needs to pick it up and get it going, because if this continues to happen, then their chances of winning are slim. And for the Buffalo Bills, they had their chances and to get it going and possibly win, but offensive pass interference at the goal line, and they wasn't aggressive with the play calling. If you were more aggressive and you would have made some changes here and there, and you would have got Calvin Benjamin involved more in the passing game, that could have been a difference maker. Their defense did their part, but they didn't do enough, especially on that 4th and 1 at the goal line where they let that tight end go out for a play action pass play who scored a touchdown. So that was the difference right there. At the end, Buffalo wasn't able to make the plays in Jacksonville. So that's what's the case where Buffalo lost and they're going home. Going forward, Jacksonville's offense is going to have to step up, because Pittsburgh got punched in the mouth in week 1. So they're going to be like, okay, we see y'all, we got you. And them Florida boys don't like the cold weather, and I can see it affecting Jacksonville's play.
Definitely. I mean, I agree with you. I mean, this was definitely a defensive effort for both teams. Unfortunately, the Jaguars would be able to come up with just 7 more points than the Buffalo Bills. Once again, the Jacksonville Jaguars would come up with a victory in this contest by a score of 10-3. We're going to make our final recap, and that is, the Carolina Panthers and the New Orleans Saints. The Carolina Panthers would fall short in this one by a score of 26-31. Cam Newton would go 24 of 40 on pass attempts, 349 yards, so he was definitely throwing it down the field and making plays.
He was balling.
2 touchdowns, so definitely what you would expect out of Cam Newton.
No interceptions either.
Absolutely. Jonathan Stewart would have 11 rushes, 51 yards. Greg Olsen would have 8 catches, 107 yards, and he would find his way to the end zone for a touchdown for the Carolina Panthers. Total offense, good, you would say 413 yards total with 24 first downs. So obviously that is definitely credit most in part to Cam Newton's 349 yards. So they were definitely moving the chains down the field. Time possession, 33 minutes and 49 seconds. On third down conversions, 80-17. They would also have 0 turnovers in this contest. Defensively, they would acquire a sack, 5 tackles for losses, and they would have an interception. On the Saints end of the football field, Drew Brees, also kind of Drew Brees-esque in a way, 23 of 33 on pass attempts. He would have 376 passing yards in this contest. He would also throw for 2 touchdowns. He would also, however, have a pick in this game. Alvin Kamara, 10 rushes for 23 yards. He would find his way to the end zone for a touchdown. Michael Thomas would have 8 catches for 131 yards in this game.
Balling!
Balling. That's all I can say. Total offense, 410 yards, so definitely similar total offensive yards for both teams respectively. Only a 3-yard difference, obviously, for the Carolina Panthers. 21 first downs as well. Total possession, 26 minutes, 11 seconds. 2 of 8 on third down conversions with 21 first downs offensively. Now for the defense for the New Orleans Saints, they would have 4 sacks, 6 tackles for losses, and 0 turnovers. Mike, how was New Orleans able to come up with this huge win over the Panthers?
It was high scoring going back and forth. Offensively, they had a little struggle here and there. The running game wasn't there, but they still ran the ball to get key first downs and touchdowns. But the passing game delivered. Michael Thomas is a bad boy, and he had his second 1,000-yard season going to his second year. I mean, his was getting open left and right and making tough coverage and double coverage using his size as an advantage. He was making catches after catches. When Drew Brees found him open, he hit him, got him for first downs. And the defense, They gave us some plays, a lot of yards and all that, but in the key moment when they need to make a play, put it on us. We going to make that play. And they made a play on 4th down to get a sack with Cam Newton, and that's all she wrote. They are going to Minnesota, so they're going to need to have that same mentality going against Minnesota. Defensively, they have to make adjustments here and there to not give them as much yards, as much points as well. But offensively, they're just going to keep doing what they're doing and keep feeding the ball to Murray and Ingram. Shit, that could be a dangerous team going to the conference championship. For the Carolina Panthers, you kind of feel bad for Cam Newton. I mean, he was taking hit after hit, but he kept getting back up, he kept fighting, he kept playing hard. But the receivers failed him by dropping passes. At one point, you could have said at halftime could have been 21-16 if it wasn't those drop passes at the end zone. Wide open drop passes. And that's what is the liking of the Carolina Panthers offense is the receiver. The running game was there, here and there, but Cam Newton put on his show and he balled out. And Greg Olsen makes some key plays too, and he also has some drops as well. That's the key part of the Carolina's offense was drop passes. If they didn't have them drop passes and convert touchdowns, we might be discussing Carolina going to Minnesota instead of New Orleans Saints going to Minnesota.
I wasn't aware that he just mentioned a minute ago. That's one of those unusual stat lines I've ever. 2 of 8 on 3rd down, and they still got 21. That means 19 times they picked up a first down on 1st down or on 2nd down. So you throw in the fact that they had 21 first downs, but only 2 of them on a 3rd down conversion. If that's not the explanation of a day late and a dollar short, kind of explains why they had 4 field goals before they scored a touchdown. Kind of explains why they had a missed field goal, I believe a 25-yard missed field goal there. I wasn't aware of this until watching the game either. I guess Gano only missed 1 in the regular season the whole year. So they were right there in field goal range. He makes that 25-yard chip shot there. They're down, presumably 31-29. You don't know how that would affect the game moving forward. Maybe a team A or team B goes for 2 here or there when they score or whatever else. But no, that's I'm kind of surprised the Saints went for it on 4th down there. And not only am I surprised they went for it on 4th down, surprised by the play call. I didn't like them going for it. I thought they should have punted. Number one, I just didn't like they rolled Breeze out. He had pressure. He threw into coverage. Panthers actually did him a favor, intercepted. It cost them about 17 yards field position there because it was 4th down. But Panthers got a lot to look forward to for next year as well. But they got to get Cam something to work with offensively.
And that 4th down could have cost the Saints the game right there.
Go ahead.
And excuse me. And they recently fired their offensive coordinator and the quarterbacks coach, so they really need.
Got North Turner on the radar.
They really need an offensive coordinator knows what he's doing, and they need to get Cam Newton some weapons.
Big figure with McCaffrey, though. I was impressed with him this year. Run CMC was all right.
And unfortunately, the Carolina Panthers will come up short in this contest. New Orleans is moving on to the divisional round of the playoffs. Once again, the Saints 31-26 over the Carolina Panthers. We're going to take a quick break, and we're going to break down the divisional round of the playoffs, as well as, of course, as always, our famous predictions to let you know who we think is going to move on to the conference championships. This is Gameball NFL Endzone coming back.
Don't go anywhere. Stay tuned.
Gameball NFL Endzone. We're going to jump into the divisional round of the playoffs and break down those matchups, and of course, we're going to also use those predictions as well to let you know who we're going to decide is going to the next round of the playoffs. We're going to start with the Atlanta Falcons and the Philadelphia Eagles. Of course, we mentioned the Atlanta Falcons and their victory over the Rams by a score of 26-13 in that matchup. They're going to be on the road in this one. They're going into Philadelphia. The Atlanta Falcons in the regular season were 5-3 on the road. The Philadelphia Eagles, the last game that they played was during the regular season on New Year's Eve, where they played the Dallas Cowboys, and they would come up with a victory by a score of 6-0. Not a usually heard about score, but they will be victorious in that one. They come into this playoffs. Of course, they finished 13-3 during the regular season. They were an incredible 7-1 at home, so that may be something that could play a factor into this game. Mike, I want to start with you with this one. How do you break down the Falcons and Eagles?
Well, the Falcons has to keep doing what they're doing, playing good defense, get the sideline to sideline, and you have the other quarterback in there, Nick Foles, the backup. You got to force him to make mistakes and all that, not give him easy throws, easy completions, and the offense has to continue to play and to be efficient, because they're going up against a dog in the Philadelphia Eagles, who has a lot to prove, because the media has been disrespectful and counting them as the underdog, the number 1 seed, the team in the NFC. The number 1 seed team in the NFC is the underdog. So now the Philadelphia Eagles got their chip on their shoulder and is going out to play ball. So the question is Atlanta ready for that cold weather environment? We'll have to see, depending on the weather this coming up weekend. But Atlanta has to do that. For the Philadelphia Eagles to win, they have to come out swinging. They got to come out early, start fast. They cannot make mistakes offensively, because if you make a mistake against the Atlanta Falcons defense, they can hurt you. So you have to be consistent in that. Get your running game going early, then get some screen game going, get some passing game to slants, then take a shot down the field with Alshon Jeffrey and Torrey Smith and the crew. And the defense for the Philadelphia Eagles, they are going to prove everybody wrong. They're going to try to prove, they're going to try to play smash mouth physical defense, which I think they can do against Atlanta Falcons offense. They're going to cause chaos and get pressure on the quarterback. They are the number 1 ranked defense in the NFL, especially against the run and against the pass as well. So they're going to come out swinging, they're going to come out aggressive, they're going to come out with different exotic blitzes. And also, they're going to play their 4-man fronts, right? Their 4-man fronts, and play some coverage in the backfield. So that's what the Philadelphia Eagles have to do to win this game offensively and defensively.
Atlanta, they're an indoor team playing on artificial surface. This will be their second road game outdoors on grass. I believe it's supposed to be cold. I believe it's supposed to be wet Saturday. But having said that, I think Atlanta can. I don't think that's really going to deter them too much as you would think. Not particularly this year's Saints team, but Saints teams of the past, or even Falcon teams of the past. But indoor teams that tend to struggle, outdoors in January. But with Freeman and Coleman toting the rock for Atlanta, and their ability to throw underneath, and not necessarily. Julio Jones is so dangerous. You can throw a receiver screen to him, he can go 80 yards with it. Not necessarily stretch the field with him. Lot to like for Atlanta going into this one. Philadelphia, you said they were 7-1 at home. Well, let's call it a little bit. They were 7-0. Week 17. Get out of here. Okay, whatever. And another thing that kind of, I don't want to say it worries me about the Atlanteans. They were 5-3 on the road. The losses were at New England, at Carolina, and at New Orleans. Now those are good teams. Those are losing two of those 3 teams on the road. Nothing really to be ashamed of. But at the same time, you'd like to be able to beat one of the better teams. You could also argue that Philadelphia is on a given day better than any of those teams. So. Tall test for Atlanta, tall test for Philadelphia. Experience matters. I think that's why Atlanta's getting 3 in this one. And while we're on the point spread or whatever else, fun fact: Vegas went 0-4 last week. Titans and Falcons won outright as underdogs, and the following day, Jacksonville and New Orleans did not cover. So be interesting to see what kind of bounce back this weekend is for the gamblers.
This is definitely going to be one where, once again, with that experience rely off of Super Bowl's heartbreak for the Atlanta Falcons. Of course, you have a team like the Philadelphia Eagles. I mean, but this isn't familiar territory for the Philadelphia Eagles. I mean, even back to the Donovan McNabb days, we know that the Philadelphia Eagles are not necessarily, this isn't something that's abnormal for them to be in an underdog position. So it's definitely going to be exciting to see how these teams, how the Philadelphia Eagles respond to that. But this is definitely going to be a great matchup. As she said, Atlanta going into Philadelphia. We'll see how this one pans out. And this will take us to our second matchup, and that is the Tennessee Titans taking on your boys, Slim Brady and the New England Patriots. Of course, the New England Patriots will be at home in this matchup. Of course, you know the Tennessee Titans are fresh off of an upset. I think would be a fair analogy of this one over the Kansas City Chiefs on the road by a score of 22-21, taking on the defending Super Bowl champions. Luke, I'd like to start off with you on this one. What do you like about this matchup?
I'm really curious to know what the Titans' plan B is because, trademark of a Belichick team, but what do you do? We're taking that away. Titans do Derrick Henry. He's probably not going to go for 156 and a touchdown this weekend. So what's their plan B? When the Patriots are putting 8, 9 in the box, I don't think New England secondary is really scared of Eric Decker. No offense to the guy. He's one of the better receivers in the league. A career underrated guy. But I don't think Mariota's scaring him with his arm. Now, his dual threat ability, Belichick teams do struggle with scrambling quarterbacks. But the thing is, he kind of lacks in accuracy, though. I mean, there's a difference between a dual threat and a running quarterback. They are not one and the same. A running quarterback can't throw. A dual threat can run and throw. So, just again, that plan B for Tennessee and the Patriots, they're the most prepared team in the league, and they're going to have home field in 2 weeks to get ready. They just got hit by 60 feet of snow, whatever it was. Somehow, some way, Belichick's going to get that to play to their advantage as well. So, what's the Titans' plan C? What's their plan D? Because they're not going to run Henry the way they did last week. Patriots won't allow for that to happen. What's their plan? And then defensively, they just got to go 3 and out as much as possible. They have to win first down. They got to get ready for the third and long, obvious passing situations, roll their coverage, do their some teams call it umbrella coverage, others call it blanket coverage, Gronkowski, whatever else. But they have to win time of possession, protect the ball, but without running Henry like that, they're going to struggle at least with the time of possession.
For the Tennessee Titans, defense has successful against the Patriots offense. What they need to do, they need to look at the tape against the Dolphins when New England play on the road. They just need to pressure up the middle against the guards and force Brady the offense spot in the pocket to where he's uncomfortable. Make him throw ill-advised throws to play in your favorite. The linebackers have to be able to cover against Gronk and other players as well. And the secondary has to step up. If they can do that, they'll be able to win this game. For the offense, they have to run the ball effectively and keep the New England Patriots offense on the sideline and keep chewing on the clock. That's to be able to win. And also, you have to make first down plays and you have to convert third down plays. If you do that, then your chances of winning are likely. For the Patriots side of the ball, they don't need motivation. But when the media outlet says all these negative things that they've been going at this week, that pisses them off and that adds fuel to their fire, and that gives them more motivation to go out and produce and shut down all these untrue rumors with Brady saying this and that, having beef with the owners and the coach and Robert Kraft this, Bill Belichick that. They came together and said that is not true. We're preparing for a game, and that's the reason why New England is so successful, because they block out all the noise. They don't pay attention to that. Their model is we're on to the next opponent, and that's how they go by their business. And they practice in the blizzard, snowy weather. It's no days off when you have a first round bye. Belichick don't care. He wants to win another title, and that's why he's so successful. Practice rain, sleet, snow, whatever. You better have your behind in practice and get prepared against the Tennessee Titans team. For the Patriots, defensively, you can't give up big runs. You have to stop the run and force Marcus Mariota to beat you with his arm. If you force him to beat you with his arm, you did your job, you win, and you can get turnovers on that. You may not get sacks here and there, but if you force him to throw bad throws and get an interception off that, defense does its job. Offensively, they got to come out swinging. They got to get the running game going. And like the Chiefs lost Travis Kelce, when New England scores 21 points, they want to continue to beat the brakes off of you. They're not going to hold back. They're going to keep being aggressive until you no longer handle it. And they will use Gronk everywhere in the slot, light of the tiny set, backfield, wherever. They will use Gronk to create one-on-one matchups. And you also have to watch out for Brandon Cooks as well. He's going to be a sleeper in this matchup.
DeMarco Murray has been ruled out of this weekend's game for the Titans for the second playoff game in a row. He's that Kenyon Drake dude that Miami has if people take advantage of him. So stacked deck against Tennessee got even more stacked with his presence.
It's a great season as far as the Tennessee Titans are concerned, but they're going against the juggernaut. They're going against the standard for the National Football League, and they're on the road as well going into Connecticut.
And for the NFL teams out there, they caught the Patriots at the wrong time because everything was said about them. They're going to use it as fire and the fuel, and they're going to come out swinging.
And also a team that really capitalized on a very, very slim margin for error as well. We know the Kansas City Chiefs definitely came up with a lot of mistakes. You can definitely, anybody can agree, don't expect that against the New England Patriots. So this is going to be a great test, I think, for the future of the Tennessee Titans, in which the organization is starting to finally show some bright lights, coming up. But unfortunately, I really think that this one is going to be a tough outing for the Tennessee Titans as they go into New England to face the defending Super Bowl champion New England Patriots. The third matchup we're going to talk about is the Jacksonville Jaguars going into Pittsburgh and taking on the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Jacksonville Jaguars, of course, we know, faced the Buffalo Bills and won in the wild card round by a score of 10-3 in that matchup. The Pittsburgh Steelers making their playoff appearance. Of course, last time they played, they defeated the Cleveland Browns on New Year's Eve. Mike, I want to start with you on this one. What do you like about this matchup?
Well, I think it's all about revenge game for the Pittsburgh Steelers. They got embarrassed at home. Was it week 3, week 4, something like that?
Week 5.
Yeah, week 5. They got embarrassed at home. And Ben Roethlisberger threw 5 picks. Expect not to happen in this game. They get Antonio Brown coming back off that calf tour he had against the Patriots. But how effective is he going to be for that offense? We don't know.
It's rumored to be 100%.
They'll say that, but we don't know once when time to come to play. So, defense, they're going to have to stop the run. They're going to have to shut down Leonard Fournette, and they can't be overly aggressive on the blitz call, because if you overly aggressive, that can probably cost you some yards, possibly a touchdown. So you have to stop the running game and force Blake Bortles to beat you. If you force Blake Bortles to beat you, you already won this game. So if you get turnovers and all that, but offensively, they have to start off fast. They can't have no mistakes. And they have to take advantage of the weakness of the Jacksonville Jaguars defense, because what I watched, Jacksonville Jaguars defense plays a 4-man front. They also line up to one side to blitz you area, leaving one side open. But the Buffalo Bills didn't take advantage of that because they don't have a prototype quarterback like Brady, Breeze, Rodgers, and Roethlisberger that hit a wide open receiver for that. So they have to look at film and see what's their weakness on the Jacksonville Jaguars defense and expose it. Because their awesome exposure there's that the Buffalo Bills did take advantage of, but they didn't capitalize it. So the Pittsburgh Steelers have to take advantage of that. For the Jaguars offense, run the ball effectively, and you can't turn it over. You're going to have to open the playbook up more and be a little bit more aggressive. Because this ain't the Buffalo Bills. You're going to Pittsburgh Steelers territory. And they're coming off with a mentality where we're going to come and get you. So the offense has to complement the defense. If that doesn't happen, then the Jaguars lose this game. And defense continue to play defense.
There's a lot to like about Jacksonville going into this game. They got that swag bag. They kind of went limping into the playoffs for lack of a better term. But there's just so many favorable matches for them, particularly on the defensive side of the ball. Their corners, notably Jalen Ramsey, they can lock him up on Brown for the most part. So that when your corners can play one-on-one, it just expands so many things you can do defensively. Another thing I really like about Jacksonville, they can rush the quarterback with their front four. They can kind of pick and choose. They can blitz out of want to, not out of necessity. And offensively, football's a simple game. You want to win first down. You want to get the third and short. They do. They win. They don't. They lose. Pittsburgh, nothing needs to be said about them. Home field, 2 weeks off. They want another shot at the Patriots. Patriots play Saturday night. Don't know if they would have won or lost going into the game there. No two games are ever alike. That's not a bold prediction of any kind. They rarely are. Pittsburgh's ready to go. They're ready to go. They're getting Brown back. They got home field. I don't want to say they're going to win or lose right now because we're at the prediction segment, but it's not going to be a 3 TD game, I don't think. Playoff games very rarely are. So Pittsburgh will be ready to go. Jacksonville will be ready to go. This really reminds me of the old Steeler-Ravens games in the playoffs, like when Ray Lewis was playing, with Jacksonville kind of coming in, as the Ravens, for lack of a better term. Rocky Sock robot game. Can't wait for it. Really can't. This is going to be game of the weekend, I think.
And also, the Pittsburgh Steelers need to get involved Le'Veon Bell in the passing game as well, because he could be a mismatch against the Jacksonville Jaguars defense. So the Jacksonville Jaguars has to be careful of Le'Veon Bell, the skills in the running game as well as the passing game.
It's going to be interesting. I agree with you. I definitely agree with that, thinking this is going to be the game of the week, just because I'm interested to see how Jacksonville's defense is going to frustrate Ben Roethlisberger, how they're going to stop the running game, how they're going to try to stop a playmaker in Antonio Brown. There's a lot of things I like about this matchup. This is definitely a great test for Jacksonville going into Pittsburgh, but then again, you have an experienced quarterback like Big Ben, a great mind and head coach in Mike Tomlin, so this is going to be a great matchup. So once again, the Jacksonville Jaguars take on the Pittsburgh Steelers. It's going to be a juggernaut fight. I like this one to be. The fourth and final matchup of the divisional round is the New Orleans Saints. Of course, they're fresh off of their victory of 31-26 over Cam Newton and the Carolina Panthers. They're taking on the Minnesota Vikings in this contest. Not much needs to be said. This, I think, is going to be another strong matchup. Mike, what do you like about this matchup?
In week 1, the Saints lost by 10, but this is a different ball game. But
no Adrian Peterson this time.
Exactly. But the Vikings still have one of the best defense, if not the best defense in the league. And like Luke was mentioned about Jacksonville Jaguars, they don't really need blitzes. It's the same thing with the Vikings. They can come at you with different ways. And
so strong on all 3 levels. So strong.
And I like their front 7 and their secondary. They can tackle well in space. This safety, Harrison Smith, that is a bad boy. He kind of reminds me of Ed Reed/Troy Polamalu, who can make plays everywhere in the safety spot. He can line in the box and tackle well in space. And he can also cover well with the tight ends and the wide receivers. So that's a good part to have on your defense.
Trey Wayne's Sherman 2.0. You look at Trey Wayne, you look at Richard Sherman. Tell me they ain't one of the same.
I say Rose is more a type of that player on that Vikings secondary. I say Rose is more than Trey Wayne's. I mean, he's coming on his own, but Rose has been holding it down for that secondary for a minute, and that's why he got the contract stitches he got. So for the Vikings to win, play good defense. Just keep doing what you're doing all season long. Offensively, you can't get caught up in the moment. This is Case Keenum's first or second time in the playoffs. He has to go out and continue to produce like he's been doing all season.
Case Keenum has never started a playoff game before.
Well, thank you. So this is his first playoff game. He's going to be nervous, have the jitters going into his stomach, whatever. But you have to start off with the running game. And offensive line has to be physical and block well. And you also got to get your playmakers going early with Diggs and TN, who's been balling, and Rudolph, who's also been balling too. If you get the three guys going, get the running game going, you can blow the brakes out of the New Orleans Saints. For the Saints defense, they have to stop the Vikings offense. Their secondary has a challenge this week to stop the Vikings receiver corps and tight end. And if they can do that, they'll be able to win this game on the road. It's another dome game, but this could get ugly for this Saints defense if they let them score too quickly with a couple touchdowns. So they have to win on first down. Force them to throw a bad pass and win on third down. And for the Saints offense, they're going to score points, but you have to score points quickly, and you have to score more touchdowns to have a chance to move on to the conference championship. You can't have turnovers in this game. And Sean Payton, he can't call fourth down stupid plays like that. It can cost you the game. Just punt and let your defense go out there and win you the game, and that's be a chance for the Saints.
Well, for the Saints, their season started in Minnesota. Their season's going to end in Minnesota. The question is, will it be this weekend, or will it be in Super Bowl 52? I really think the winner of this game goes to the Super Bowl. I really do. I like the Falcons and Eagles, and we'll see what the weekend has, injuries, whatever else. I reserve the right to change my mind between now and the NFC Championship. But as things stand right now, especially if I'll get to that later. I think the winner of this game goes to the Super Bowl, has the inside track to the Super Bowl. So I think the Vikings are more similar to the Week 1 team than what New Orleans is going into this game. In other words, I think the Saints, if they go back and look at that Week 1 matchup, they can manipulate some things, make some changes. The Saints are a brand new team. So if Minnesota doesn't say that, okay, what are we doing Week 1 to beat these guys?
They didn't play Alvin Kamara as well.
And they had Peterson on the roster at the time, too. So they're really playing, at least on the offensive side of the ball, a brand new team. It was a pass-heavy team coming into the game, Week 1. About 3, 4, 5 weeks into the year, Saints found what their bread and butter was. Kamara, Ingram running the ball. Breeze throwing the ball as a third option, which is just scary dangerous. I mean, dear God. Defensive coordinators actually want Drew Brees to beat them now, which is just like an alternate universe. But anyhow, it's I may have spoke too soon when I said that Jacksonville Pitt's going to be game. This might be game of the weekend.
Yeah.
This man, there's just so much to like about this game. And the Saints, they're pretty solid on all three sides of the ball too. Think about it. Worries me about New Orleans defensively. A little over-aggressive. A little too quick for the big hit. You jump that one route and miss. You go for that one big hit and miss. Could be the season.
Minnesota Vikings, New Orleans Saints, potential game of the week. That's going to conclude our breakdown of the divisional round of the playoffs. Now we're going to jump into the predictions to let you know who we think is going to win and move on to the conference championships between these four matchups. We're going to start with Luke. We're going to start with the Atlanta Falcons and the Philadelphia Eagles. Who you like in this game?
I think experience matters. Experience matters. No such thing as a Super Bowl hangover the following year in the playoffs. You go to the Super Bowl and lose. You come back the next year, you make the playoffs. You don't beat the hangover. You're ready to drink again. You're ready to double fist it. Let's go. Let's pop that champagne, fellas. Let's fill it. Let's get them glasses and goggles on. Let's go. Let's go. Falcons are an indoor team built for the outdoors. Supposed to be a wet, sloppy game in Philadelphia. Nick Foles has the one playoff start, a wild card loss to the Saints. I believe in Chip Kelly's first year as a coach, as an NFL coach. Lots to like about the Eagles going into this one. They don't have the league MVP. I don't care how optimistic an Eagles fan is. Home field, cold weather, 2 weeks off, whatever else. You cannot, in any reasonable realm of imagination, say they're a better team without the league MVP playing for them. And also, I'm a big Darren Sproles guy. I think this is the kind of game where his absence is really going to be highlighted. He kind of been forgotten about because he got hurt somewhat early in the season. They could really use him or a guy like him in this game. He's not going to be there. Falcons, experience matters. Going to run Freeman, going to run Coleman, going to get Julio going. Matty Ice, going to be Matty Ice. 24-20 Falcons.
I'm going with the Eagles because they got a lot to prove. And I think that defense is going to be too much for the Falcons to handle because that front seven is aggressive and they are physical. They get off blocks so well, especially Fletcher Cox. That boy is something else. He can get off double teams like it ain't nothing. He can get off double teams in his sleep. So I'm picking the Philadelphia Eagles. I say they're going to make more plays offensively to win the game, but the defense is going to hold it down and show up and show out and tell everybody you picked the wrong team to beat. We're the underdogs. They're going to use that as motivation. They're going to play with a pissed-off mentality. But I'd say the score is going to be around 27-20. Philadelphia Eagles advance to the NFC Championship game at home.
This one's a tough one, but I like Atlanta in this one. And, I mean, maybe that's just going off of that experience. And they've been here before. This is nothing new, and I think they also have the eyes on the prize at this point.
Dan Quinn doesn't get the credit as a coach, I don't think, either.
Absolutely. And they're only 2 more victories away from returning to that Super Bowl, and I think they have their eyes on maybe getting it done this time. I can definitely see them returning to the Super Bowl. I think the big factor in this is, can Atlanta again get Julio Jones involved offensively? Can they get him in the end zone? Can they get him going early and often? I'm going to say this is a close one in Philly. I got them going 27-24 over the Eagles.
I don't mind being a loner again.
The second matchup, Mike, I'm going to start with you on this one. The Tennessee Titans, your boys, New England Patriots.
Somebody call a church to get the funeral service going because you woke up a sleeping giant, the Patriots. They're going to use that as motivation, and they're going to keep going, and they're going to try to beat the brakes off of you. I don't need to get the details on that. I'm going to say the Patriots win the score 38-17.
I'm going 28-13 Patriots. 28-13. They won by. They're getting 13 points. I think they'll do just enough to cover that. I just don't. I think the. I mean, consider the Titans won last week. They played an extremely flawed game. Like they
everything needed to happen in their
no,
life.
I mean, everyone's kind of glossing the Jacksonville Buffalo game was ugly. I mean, this game was not aesthetically pleasing at all. At least that Bills game was, something, kind of like a Mike Tyson punch out. I'm not sure what that was in Kansas City last week. Titans won because somebody had to. 28-13. I respect the Titans defense enough to keep the Patriots under 30 points. And this isn't exactly the 18-1 Patriots, Randy Moss, whatever else, scoring 45, 50 points a game. 28-13 Patriots.
I'm going to agree. I think anybody in their right mind, unless you're a hardcore Titans fan, is going to pick New England to win this football game. This is definitely one of those. I feel like that Titans game was, I think it was flukish because there's no way to put it how everything just boiled down to them escaping out of Arrowhead. I don't see them at all beating the Patriots. Like, I don't see it. I think giving them 17 points, I don't know.
And the Patriots rarely beat themselves. They rarely beat themselves.
And Mariota throws a touchdown to himself again. I'm changing my mind, though. I just want to throw that out there.
That won't happen.
To tell you the truth, I have these guys winning. I have them winning 38-14 this one. I really do. This was once again a great turnaround for the Tennessee Titans. No question about it. Giving them credit where credit is due. They made it to the playoffs. Escaped Arrowhead Stadium. Big playoff win on the road. But it's just not going to happen in New England. They're going to go back to the AFC Championship.
If the Patriots lose, this would be a bigger upset than either Super Bowl loss to the Giants, in my opinion. This would be the upset of upsets.
Third matchup, Luke, we'll start with you on this one. Jacksonville, Pittsburgh.
Going to be another Mike Tyson punch-out game. Okay, I can't wait for it. The thing that worries me about Jacksonville is last week, Bortles had 87 yards passing, 88 yards rushing. Silver lining, I guess. It depends on which way you want to bend the paperclip. They won the Week 5 matchup 30-9. Only way Jacksonville beats Pittsburgh on any Sunday is if their defense scores direct points, or at least sets them with a very short field. What I think Pittsburgh is going to do here, I mentioned the Brown-Ramsey matchup. don't think Antonio Brown has a numerically big game. That's because I think Pittsburgh's going to line him up out wide and play 10 on 10. They're going to take Jalen Ramsey out of the game. Run Brown on them go routes, 10 on 10, throw underneath, get Le'Veon Bell going. I respect the Jaguars, I respect Saxonville. And Pittsburgh will win 24-17.
I'm going with the Pittsburgh Steelers because they got that bad taste in their mouth from that 30-9 loss in Week 1 at home. They got embarrassed. They had a week to prepare for it, and Pittsburgh doesn't need to be overly emotional about it. Just go in there, punch in the mouth, play physical football, take care of business. And I think the key player is going to be Le'Veon Bell. The running game and the passing game. You can line them up out the slot. You can line them outside the numbers as well as inside the numbers in the passing game, and the running game will be efficiently. So, and plus, the offensive line plays to his style. He's that patient running back. When he sees a hole, bam, he's gone. So that has worked to his favor. I think the Pittsburgh Steelers defense is going to be able to make at least 1 to 2 turnovers against the Jacksonville Jaguars offense. So I'm going to say the score around of 30-17 Pittsburgh.
I'm going to say with this one, I like Pittsburgh. I mean, no question about it. I like Jacksonville's defense, but I'm just not necessarily confident in them offensively.
I'm not sold on Blake Bortles. I'm used to terminology. The Javion Clowney said he's trash. He will be trash against the Steelers this week.
10 points against the Buffalo Bills. I just can't see that being something that will. If you only put up 10 points against the Buffalo Bills, I'm just not confident with them offensively. Defensively, I'm interested to see what they're going to do, but I just think that Pittsburgh is going to come out and win at home. I got them winning 24-10 in this one, and they're going to advance. The fourth and final matchup, the New Orleans Saints, Minnesota Vikings. Mike, who do you like?
This is going to be a dogfight to the finish. It's going to come down to one play, offense or defensively for both teams. It's going to be the matchup that everybody's going to get their money's worth. If you're watching the game, you're going to the game, whatever you're doing. This is probably the game of the week, going to the conference championship. But I like the home team. I'm going with Minnesota Vikings because they've been waiting for this moment for a long time to host a home playoff game. They're going to remind me of the Purple People Eaters on defense, bringing that swag back from the good old football days in the 70s. So I say this Vikings will make enough plays on defense to stop the Saints from winning this game. So I'm going to say the score of, 29-20.
Something that can't be ignored, the New Orleans Saints went 3-0 against the Panthers this year. Minnesota lost. Game was at Charlotte. It's fairly late in the season. But I don't think this can be ignored. Case Keenum making his first postseason start against an all-timer in Drew Brees. Experience matters. Sean Payton, he's been there before. Experience matters. But defense and home field matter. Defense and home field matter as well. Anthony Barr, if you ain't really checked this guy, everyone just kind of identifies him as a dirty player that knocked that bad man Aaron Rodgers up. Dude's a good player, has been a good player.
He plays till the whistle blows.
He is my defensive MVP this year. He really is. He's going to lead the charge, and they will be in the NFC Championship game. They will win 28-20. Great year by the Saints. I think when the Saints come in with the offseason next year and enter Week 1, knowing that they're, for lack of a better term, a running team first, they can have bigger things ahead. They're not beating Minnesota, though.
I'm actually going to have to turn aside, and I'm going to have to say I like the Saints in this one, just because of what they've also shown me on offense and defense. If they can get Ingram going, and we know how much of a bully he is, running up the gut, Drew Brees, if he can be Drew Brees, 350-plus passing yards and finding the end zone, I think it's going to be a tough one. I think it's going to be close. I'm going to say this one is going to be 21-14. I think it's going to be in the fourth quarter, someone's going to come up with a big play. I think Drew Brees will find a way to show that experience, and I think he'll get it done. but this is going to be a great game, without a question about it. That is going to conclude our episode of Gameball NFL Endzone for the divisional round. Of course, be on the lookout for us next Wednesday as we'll break down those matchups, and we'll also talk about the NFC Championship and the AFC Championship matchups, and of course, give you our predictions.
Social media, Facebook, you can follow us at Gameball College Kickoff / Gameball NFL Endzone. Email gck.gnfle@gmail.com. Twitter, our official Twitter page at GCK_GNFLE. You can follow me on Twitter, that's all capitalized, Gameball, all caps, _capital MYKE, stands for Mike. You can also follow us on Instagram at GCK_GNFLE. On YouTube, like, subscribe to our channel at gck.gnfletv. Hit the like, subscribe channel button. Just hit the button to subscribe.
Absolutely. And once again, thank you everybody that has hit that subscribe button, followed us on all of our social media sites, and we appreciate the feedback that we've been getting on the Twitter page as well. Thank you for showing love on Facebook. Of course, without you guys, this is not possible. So thank you so much for the support. You can find me on Twitter at Jovell, JOVELLEENT, all one word. You can also follow me on Instagram as well at JovellENT, and you can also hit me up on Facebook, Marcus Jovell ENT Champion.
You can find me on Facebook at Luke Hartnett, Luke like the biblical spelling, Hartnett, HARTNETT. Find me on Instagram under the same name. Also follow me on Twitter at Luke Hartnett2. And while I have everybody's attention, horns up, prayers up, not football related, but today, University of Texas men's basketball player Andrew Jones diagnosed with leukemia. We're praying for you, buddy. You're going to get through this. Horns up, prayers up. Come on, man. You're going to get through this. Let's go, let's go. Up them horns.
Prayers and thoughts of families go out to his friends and family as well.
Absolutely.
So, speedy recovery. Hopefully he gets by through it.
Absolutely. And that'll do it for this podcast of Gameball NFL Endzone. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. We'll see you next time.
Peace and love. We are out.